This is downlink. Data products appear to be in. We will begin processing shortly. This is downlink. We are beginning to fetch data from Mars 2020. This is downlink. We have pulled in data products from Mars 2020. This is downlink, confirming we received Mars 2020 telemetry, confirming that we received Mars 2020 events, confirming that we received helicopter data products, confirming that we have data products, confirming that we unpacked image and 1 Hz data. This is downlink. We have successfully ingested 1 Hz data, confirming that we have helicopter data products, helicopter telemetry, helicopter events, confirming helicopter file listing, confirming expected boot counts. This is downlink, confirming battery data has been received.
Rotor motors appear healthy. Swash plate servos appear healthy. Overall actuators appear healthy.
Confirming thermal report generation. Confirming analog report generation. Confirming telecom report generation. This is downlink, handing off to flight control for telemetry analysis.
This is flight control, confirming that we have EVRs from Ingenuity. Ingenuity is reporting having performed spin-up, takeoff, climb, hover, descent, landing, touchdown, and spin down. And altimeter data confirms that Ingenuity has performed its first flight, the first flight of a powered aircraft on another planet.
So the image we're looking at on the screen is the image from our onboard navigation camera showing us hovering above the surface of Mars. How incredible!
And that's its shadow, right, Taryn?
Yes, that's its shadow. So the onboard navigation camera points straight down, so we're seeing its shadow right now.
had to tear up the contingency speech, which I never practiced, but I was going to read. But lucky for you, I have a much shorter speech for success. So we can now say that human beings have flown a rotorcraft on another planet. So we've been talking so long about our Wright brothers moment on Mars. And here it is. And this project has had many friends who contributed to tonight's success. I see many in the room, the team in the room, the team on WebEx, team members who couldn't join us, and a few of our friends who are no longer with us. They're still in our minds today. And Perseverance Rover, the best host little Ingenuity could ever hope for. You know, we don't know from history what Orville and Wilbur did after their first successful flight, the Wright brothers, but I imagine the two brothers hugged each other. Well, you know I'm hugging you virtually, and you guys haven't been with me for 4, 5, 6 years. If it weren't for COVID-19, you guys don't have a chance of me not grabbing you to hug you. So this is all I can do. I'm giving you the hugs. Look, we together flew at Mars, and we together now have our Wright brothers moment. So, you know, history does tell us that soon after that first flight, Wilbur and Orville did go right back to work. They flew 3 more flights that day, higher and further than the first ones. So we know, you know, like the Wright brothers at Kitty Hawk, we know that our time to make a difference at Jezero Crater, Mars is not yet over. This is just the first great flight. So let's enjoy this moment. But we must enjoy this moment because over the years, and there are a few of you especially, but there's some that have never let me celebrate fully. Every time we hit one of these major milestones, not yet, not yet. We keep telling you, and we keep moving on. So we must take a moment to celebrate this moment. Really important. Congratulations, everybody. Congratulations. Take that moment, and then after that, let's get back to work and more flights. Congratulations.
This way, go this way.
Oh my God. Picture
Right for the downlink, my Wi-Fi.
Thank you.
Three times a week. What's that next land?
Boyfriend was like, oh, in truth, if you really watch more than YouTube. Oh, yeah. But I did get a Pretty awesome day.
Data product sizes look nominal. Yeah! Woo!
Yeah. All right.
We'll see you in 3 days. So
Now we just have to sit here for 10, 15 minutes while the data products move from AMPCS to OCS. But for those of you who are less familiar with our data products, if you look here at the end, which I'm highlighting on my screen, these are the 4 NCAM images we downlink, and there is the ComLogger file. If we downlink these 4 NCAM images, it means we got to the end of H1 sequence, which means we should have flown, because non-flight paths break out early and do not downlink these NCAM images. Therefore, we are very happy. Right now, it's just a question of how cleanly we flew, but not a question of whether or not we got to the end of the sequence. And I hope in 10 minutes I haven't spoken out of the side of my face. But all right, I see the complete data set in OCS. So I'm going to run one more listing and make sure that things came across clean. And who is my TDL today? Jaco, you cool with me proceeding on risk if these products seem to match in both systems? It's normal. We do that all the time.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay. I see the same counts. I see the same sizes. We are going to proceed on risk. All right, here we go. So if I refresh my screen and pull up the GitHub ticket, there we are. And now we sit and wait for us to query and pull in data. This is also very normal. It will take a while, especially since we have considerably larger set of products than we have before. So here it is in this window pulling in the data products from AMPCS. This will take a bit because there are 90 or 100 and some of them. 124. So we're off in our estimate by 4 data products, which is actually pretty close. There we are. So this is the standard downlink process today. So I'm going to check off each place, and then I will hand off to the rest of the team when we get to midpoint sign-off. So I'm verifying that the channels came down and the EVRs came down. So we've got, this is telemetry. So channels came down. Here is our EVR count from Mars 2020. And here's our data product transfer, and let's just make sure we got all 124 at the end. 124, perfect. Okay, so we successfully ingested the ComLogger file. There are no issues with ingesting the ComLogger. We did our data breakdown. We see HBS, we see heli ComLogger. That is good. We're very happy there. We got a file listing. There's our big file listing. So that's something that Tim was talking about. Our file listing is getting kind of big for these directories because we're starting to do flights. So we should be aware of that. It booted the correct number of times, and they match our predictions, so that is fantastic. I
We've got an RTE log too in that for flight 2.
RTE log? So Garrick was pointing out that we have an RTE log?
Yeah, it's somewhere in there. RTE underscore flight 2.
Yeah, there it is. RTE flight 2.
8 megabytes.
It's big. So, moving forward, we generated our battery table. We see our plots. Teddy will talk about these later. I'm just going to make sure that the plots exist. So that looks okay. We're going to hand that off to Teddy. We have our generation of thermal reports. The thermal reports are here. We're happy about that. We have our analog report. It is here. And stand by for NavCam images. I think they're next. Oh, no. Telecom reports next, then NavCam images. There are NCAM images. Yeah!
Yeah.
So we got our NCAM images. So at this point, I think we're at midpoint sign-off, and I can unrelease the other teams to do their thing.
Yes.
All right. So, according to GNC AVRs, everything executed nominally. The only warnings you see are the normal ones that we usually see at startup. The transient warning about these buffers overflowing temporarily. Otherwise, we go through everything normally. All of these are the standard modes that we've seen before, spinning up, taking off, climbing, and so forth, and lots of guidance CVRs because we're doing a lot of maneuvering during this flight. This brings me to
the full height, the rotation, moving towards the rover, so looks good. Congratulations to everybody.
That's pretty awesome, Justin.
That's awesome, yeah.
Congratulations on Mastcam Z.
Yeah, it's always good to get these things captured. But the flight looks great, so well done, everybody. It's awesome.
Of course, there's a little bit of ventilation here, but that's about the same that we saw during flight 1.
That's
like
just
20
the
centimeters
control
kind of
system
thing.
settling in. And,
and a little bit of disturbances, that we see. So yeah, I mean
that's great.
And I think our altitude we control to within a centimeter or so.
That's
right?
good.
Like it's just like right on. So,
Excellent.
Yeah, we're quite happy from everything we've seen so far. It looks
2 for
looks
2.
great. Yeah.
2 more to go.
Yeah. I know. Everything looks great and nominal.
It looks like we have those pictures inside. I can't say for certain, but data products have come down. We will not see the standard signature with the images. It looks like they're embedded in these CommLogger products, but we can't say for certain for a few more minutes.
It certainly looks like we didn't hit the contingency sequence.
And we were up for what looks like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 minutes?
Yeah, that seems about right.
Yeah.
It's a good sign.
We were up for about 13 minutes. That's a good sign. This looks fairly encouraging today, but it'll take us a few minutes to be as encouraging as we were in previous days.
Yep. I'm very curious where we landed, obviously, this time.
Data product in. I'm going to go ahead and kick off processing. You confirm, Tim?
I confirm.
All right, fetching data products from Mars 2020. There's our flight 3. I'm going to keep this to the side for a bit because there's this window we can be done with, if we saw that. EVRs just came in. We are now processing the helicom file, which will hopefully give us the images that we were looking for. When this is done,
GNC AVRs are looking nominal.
I see that from the EVRs that the helicopter went to sleep normally. We saw the LSs, which wouldn't happen if the sequence had terminated early. So otherwise, it looks like a nominal sequence.
I can confirm we got 2 images down. That means we made it to the very end of the sequence. All right, so we're going to walk through the normal downlink process now that we got a look at those EVRs, and we can confirm that things look pretty good. We got our channels from 2020, we got our events from 2020, and we got our data products from 2020. Image processing, we got 2 images. Okay, I am at the midpoint sign-off, so I can confirm we fetched EVRs and EHAs, and we have generated our reports. Tim, you were secondaring me today because you're right here, so I'll sign you off.
I concur.
Cool. All right, I didn't see anything out of normal there. I'll quickly go through the rest of the reports. We don't have any out of bounds on the HBS. That's good. We have the standard out of bounds for the flight, so we'll have to confirm those with the times, but for now I'm going to check this box. All right, time tracker, alarms look good. We had a 20-second clock drift. That's expected at this stage of the project, and nothing else is wandering away. Where'd that checkbox go? The checkbox. So I'm happy with the way the alarms were set. Here's our EVR reports. We got EVRs from all devices, so I'm going to check all those boxes. And then we're going to look through the warnings. No warnings on Mars 2020. What looked like the normal warnings on HBS, so that's okay. And Heli, I see those 2 are expected. Those 3 are expected. The watchdogs are expected. Too many packets for NFC input buffer. Garrick, have we seen that before?
Yeah, we've been discussing this one. It's fine.
And then I see nav cams. We've seen those before. Invalid IMU well estimator. That's probably at the end of the flight. We expect that.
That's fine. That's expected.
And these exceeded storage sizes, I think, are also expected. Is that correct?
That's expected for those 2 logs specifically.
Perfect. All right. So EVRs all look normal. Nothing to report at this point. So we can have experts go through each of the EVR logs. I'm going to continue through the summary and say we expected these missing files. They'll come down in the next pass, but we got them already out of the ComLogger file. We had 20 seconds of clock drift. We had 2 expected out-of-bounds channels. So things are looking pretty good. The only thing I have left to do is run the anomaly script and check to make sure that there's nothing else it sees. All right, so our images came down with the correct CRC. That's good news. We had a minor drift of 99 seconds on alarm 0. That's not concerning. That's an issue with the check script, so I'm not worried about that either. Everything else looks fine.
Yeah, and it looks like we captured 22 uncompressed navcam images from EVRs.
Cool. It's time for all the other experts to take over, so go ahead.
All right, I'm going to show some plots from what we're seeing on the GNC. Yeah, this is a plot of the position. This is what we want to see. We see Z going to 5 meters, and then in the y-axis, which is relative to the starting position, we see the helicopter going out to 50 meters and coming back again. In terms of velocities, we can see the vertical velocity on climb and on descent. Those are the green ones. And then the lateral velocity, which is the interesting one here. It's the first time we've flown at 2 meters per second, and it does that very nicely. Yeah. And one thing that I was, obviously very interested in this flight is navigation error, and we have to look at that a little bit more. But I what we can see here is that final image, and it tells a fairly clear story, I think. If you look at this rock over here, that's the rock that you see over here. And so, and this little one, where my cursor is right there, that's the little white speck that you see in the image here. You're aiming for the center of the pad here, and we look like we have, our legs, at least one side of the legs, right down here. So at least at first glance, this looks like we're hitting it, pretty close to what we were aiming for after 100-meter traverse. So.
First bit should be showing up any minute.
And Tim, you're going to announce the Rover EVRs as you see them, right?
Correct. Last bit should be on the ground according to ComTracker.
This is Sox. I'm seeing some warning low EVRs, Hilo EVR, HBSN file from HBS invalid side data. I believe this is from the latest pass. It came down at cell 69 at 1302.
That would indicate that the nav images didn't transfer again.
It appears so, yes.
So what would happen if we got all the way to landing but not past landing? Well, we didn't land successfully.
Just out of curiosity, Garrick, we list the directory before we transmit the images, correct?
Yeah, we list the directory before we transmit images. That command could have faulted. That would explain that.
Because we were starting to get some big files.
Let's not speculate now. Let's just wait until all the data gets in.
Right, great.
All right, I see data products coming in, so I think we're ready to begin processing.
DNC EVRs have come in, and they're showing us going all the way to idle.
So all the way up, down, land? Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's see what happens. Oh, okay. Let's see what happens. All right, let's see.
We are processing Helicom 2 right now. It'll take a few minutes. All right, so I can confirm no image data came down in the comm logger, which means we did not send those image files.
So it looks like looking at EVRs, it looks like we did stop running during the list directories, which means we would not have gotten to the step where we transmitted the images back to the base station, but it does mean that we took the images and they're on the helicopter. And I do see log files listed on the helicopter. So.
Do you want? I have a plot to show here, showing helicopter flying out and back. Yeah, let me. Actually, I'm not on the WebEx. I didn't get on it. Yeah. Johnny, come on, share your screen.
Okay.
Are you talking about this one over?
That's the one.
All right. So
That's us going out and back. That looks right. And the roll and pitch after the flight looks good, so it looks like we're on our legs, upright.
And the velocities look good.
3.5 meters per second.
So I think we successfully flew.
It looks good.
So the good news is we flew and we're safe on the ground again. So we're happy.
Can people see this on WebEx?
Yep.
This is a helicopter at 133 LMST, right side up. Still to be determined how close we are to where we aimed for.
Hey, Hobart, this is Justin. The left Mastcam-Z video shows a pretty good comparison of where it took off to where it landed. You want me to display it?
Please, yes.
Okay, let me see if I can swing this. I'm in like 2 WebExes, but... And Bob, are you able to see that now?
We can see it now.
Okay, so it's taking off here where my cursor is. Watch it flick out of the way and go down, and then it comes back to the right of where my cursor is. Right there.
Yeah, I can see that. Thank you. That helps.
Yeah. So I'll move my cursor right here. Or maybe my cursor doesn't show up. But just look in the lower right, you'll see the heli landed, and then it flips back to take off, and it takes off to the left of where it landed.
We're starting to get data in AMPCS. That's good news. I see what looks like 6 images here, so that's a really good sign. And then, yeah, we very clearly see 6 images. So we got to the image downlink piece, and we got through bin 42, it looks like. And then you can see that little bit of data at the end, which is the HBS. The HBS is doing one last send. And everybody's just kind of looking and nodding and smiling behind masks. So
The 7341 is probably our VZIP LS's.
Yeah, it's got to be what that is.
Thank you, Tim. Okay, so now we wait a few minutes. Hey, look at that. 58 products on the money, and that's exactly what we expected.
So
Hey, this is Mastcam Z sharing a thumbnail video, Flight 5, in the WebEx if anyone wants to take a look.
not interested. From 10 meters down.
Up and down.
And the dust devil in the background.
Yeah.
I love it.
They're
pointing at the landing site.
Yep. And the background dust devil.
And that's coming down from 10 meters altitude, so that's a new record.
Awesome, guys.
Catching a dust devil just as we're landing. I can't believe we have the background dust devil.
Does that mean that there'd be high winds going on at that time?
It's pretty local, actually, but that's a really nice dust devil.
Yeah. You don't see it that well.
Man, Mars is like gifting us big time.
Yeah, it's too bad we won't have pictures for a while. Like the.
That means we landed about in the right place.
All right, I see all products in OCS, so I'm going to go ahead and start our flight processing. All right, here we go.
The RT caught the dust devil.
Maybe. We won't see for a while. That would be pretty awesome.
Let's find out. Let's find out.
Congratulations. Mike, Havar, Johnny. Congrats, everybody. Josh, Stefano, Jocko. Oh, shit. Congrats.
So it's ingesting the comm logger as we speak, so give it a moment, and those will come in.
And we have plots showing that we're going out, but we're not coming back. And we went up to 10 meters as expected.
Okay, there's our battery report. Battery report looks like what I'd expect. We have battery reports, we have graphs. There are your graphs, Teddy. You can speak to those later. We generated thermal reports, so those are here. And we are going through the last bit of reports now. The images will be processed here momentarily. We're on the telecom report. It's the one step before the images. So here is our analog report that exists. We're doing the telecom report now. Oh, we got one NAC. I think that's our first NAC on the helicopter so far. So, overall looking okay. Here's our Snapdragon chart. You can see are there, and we made it to image processing. There are your images. And so I will share on the WebEx now. And here are images. These are the 6 that we brought down. You can see these are towards the end of the flight as we get closer and closer to the surface. And that's our midpoint. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off here. Garrick is prepared to sign off as well. We didn't see any notable issues up to this point.
Looks like that ripple is pretty clearly in the nav image. The one to the south.
Yeah, the ripple that we see there is very recognizable. And so it shows we're at least roughly in the right area. It looks like we're above our, selected airfield from what I can see in the images.
we saw the normal out of bounds for the GNC stuff that happens post-landing, and then we saw a couple of radio errors, a timeout, a NAC, and an error count went up to 2.
First of all, some plots. This is a key one. Shows that we went to 5 meters altitude, and then we translated out, but unlike every other flight where we've gone out, we didn't come back again. This is about where we landed, and prior to that, we can see that we went to 10 meters altitude and then came down again. So that looks great. We can also see that we did our turn 70 degrees at the end of the flight. And if you look at the images here, it's quite recognizable where we landed. Notice here in the second to last image, these 3 rocks that you see here, those are the same 3 rocks that we see here in our airfield. And so we're right in the vicinity of where we wanted to be.
Wow.
questions.